with your hosts, Tricky Nick, Alex, Idea to No One, Sid, and Ender Phoenix.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trophy Wars. This is episode 708. I'm your host, Tricky Mick. Alongside with me, the man, the myth, and the legend, it's Alex.
Yes, and with the way that I just cleave my way through all the enemies of Ezo, there's no other way that you can describe me except for legendary.
I don't know about that. What's up, Pinball?
Oh, here we go, with Tricky being a pessimist again. Here we go. Glass half full, everyone.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sitting here with the plat, and you're not, so I mean, what it is.
You played it months before I did. But hey, let's be real, Tricky. If we're talking about winners, you paid for my copy of Ghost of Yotei, so who's the real winner here?
I guess, you should be saying thank you.
I did say thank you. I said thank you on the show, in fact.
He's the man that likes to set everything on fire, but leave me hanging in Speranza. It's Matt.
I mean, I have to have been with you in Speranza to leave you hanging. I just didn't join you.
No, you left me hanging. You wanted to go hunt some monsters and just left me hanging. First time I can game in a month, actually 2 months, and, had to go fight arcs on my own.
Why am I going to go play other games?
So hold on a second here, Matt. Ricky wants to say that you're leaving him hanging, and yet, do we make fun of him, say that he's leaving us hanging when he doesn't show up to record?
Hey, hold on. I don't do that by choice. I do that because I have a dedication to my job and my profession, and I do what I need to do to protect the city of New York.
Oh, yeah. Okay. First of all, Batman, let's calm down there with the defend the city of New York or protect the city of New York. Also, how many times did you call out for anal glaucoma?
Hey, my job listens to this.
Dude, how many times have you told on yourself on this show So but at this point, Tricky, if you have not gotten fired for what you said on the show, I don't think they can. Well, you're in a union, so they're not going to be able to fire you for whatever you say on the show.
Yes, I can actually. But
okay.
I just got to be smart about what I say.
Oh, well, first of all, you're editing this week, so you could always take that out, but I'll find a clever way to work it back in.
Yeah, well, I can't take it out of the live show that we're on Twitch.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, there's no one from your work. Well, I guess you did have one coworker listening last week,
and he's here today.
Tricky, maybe you're screwed. I guess. Oh well.
Pinball, earmuffs.
So how the hell are you, gentlemen? 2 weeks in a row. This is weird to me. I was here for 2 weeks.
This is cause for celebration that we can run almost a full crew 2 weeks in a row on a podcast.
Yes. Matt, how the hell are you? You were hunting some monsters, I heard you said.
Yes, and today, finally, it's been a long time coming, but I ended up getting Zelda's paw print tattooed on me. So now she's always by my side.
That's sweet. I thought about doing that with Bella, but I don't know. I'm weird about my tattoos.
Yeah, but you want to have something that's meaningful. Like, you don't want to have, like, there are some tattoos in the moment where you think they're really cool and really awesome, and then years down the road, you look at them and it's like, oh man, I'm no longer into this band anymore, or I don't like, this movie series as much as I used to, or you just kind of have regrets about things. But I feel like your pet's paw print, would be something you'll always look at and say, yeah, that was worth it. So,
well, I
mean, one of the things that helps us deal with loss and grief is like keeping those who we've lost close to us as possible and relevant in our lives, and something like that is a good way to do it.
Well, I mean, I have 3 tattoos. One is my daughter's name with a rose. Another one is Oscar the Grouch for sanitation because, celebrating the job. And the other one that I kind of regret, and I would get covered up, but I also don't regret it. I got
I knew it. You got drunk one night and got an Islanders jersey on your butt cheek.
No, I got on my right forearm. I got JR Motorsports from Dale Earnhardt Jr. And the tattoo artist kind of screwed it up a little bit, but it was this logo was actually on Dale Jr.'s car when he won Daytona the same year his father passed. So it was kind of like a memorial for my favorite driver and senior at the same time. But the tattoo artist messed it up because he wanted to get creative, and I didn't notice it until after he was done. So
no, I think the artist was just a Jeff Gordon fan.
He actually was. He was wearing a Jeff Gordon shirt as he was tattooing it on me.
That should have been your first hint, Tricky, to go somewhere else.
Well, I mean, it was a $25 tattoo, so I can't really complain.
Hold on. You're bitching about a $25 tattoo. Did you go to Kmart to get this tattoo done?
Okay, first of all, this tattoo was done 25 years ago, so prices are a little different then.
Yeah, hundreds of dollars different.
Yeah. So, but my next tattoo is actually going to be the Liberty jersey of the Rangers, and I'm going to get it on a full back tattoo. But that's
not the shield. You're not getting the shield. You're getting the ugly Liberty.
Don't you dare say that's ugly. That's the best logo they've ever had.
No, it's not. The classic Rangers logo is better.
No. The Liberty jersey, Matt. I know you're not a Rangers fan, but would you argue the Liberty jersey or the Shield?
Not a Rangers fan.
Huh?
Oh boy, am I not a Rangers fan?
But I mean, would you argue and say the Shield is a better logo than the Liberty jersey?
Yes, I would actually.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Shield far better.
There's a reason why there's so many, logos that like. It's not just in like food marketing and advertising. Like a lot of sports teams go back to their old logos because their old logos are just like classic, and they just, I don't know. There's the reason why that's their first logo. Like some don't stick as well. I understand, but like in hockey, don't the Sabres, Buffalo, don't they use their older one? They got rid of the more updated Buffalo head, and they go with the blue and the swords, right? Is that what that's what they use still, right?
Are you talking about the jersey like back when Hasek was their goalie?
Yeah, it was the 90s. That
Yeah.
buffalo head. They use the more classic blue one, right? With
Yeah.
with the swords.
Yes, that's the one they use. I actually like that, the one you talk about, which was the darker, was it dark blue? Different buffalo. I actually like that jersey a lot.
But also, I mean, you look at what the Red Wings, the Blackhawks, what the Blues. Do any of these teams use any newer designs? Or they all use their old ones? Because I think like the Islanders, the Devils, they all use their old logos from when I was watching hockey, right?
I'm actually very happy. Evidently, the Devils are retiring the jersey shirt this year, finally.
The jersey shirt?
Yeah, their black shirt with the word jersey written on it.
Oh, yeah. See, that's another thing. Like the 100-year celebration jerseys that the Rangers had this year. The blue one is kind of cool, but it also just says Rangers. Like, there's no design to it. And the reverse one is they did the same thing, but reversed the colors for their outdoor game. And it says Rangers. Like, 100-year celebration, you should have done something, like, more, I don't want to say classy, but more done up. It just wasn't, I don't know. Anyway, Rangers are kicking ass, apparently. They won 4 games in a row so far. I know you
And
guys.
What was that fifth game?
Oh, they lost it, but I think they're like 7-1 since the Olympic break, which is phenomenal for them. I wish they would have been doing this all year. Apparently, they clean house and they start playing better. The Rangers in their last 10 games are 6-2-2. But they won 4 in a row. And they beat the number 4 team in hockey last night pretty handily. The Minnesota Wild. So, all right, but this isn't a hockey podcast. This is a PlayStation podcast. Alex, how the hell are you, sir?
I'm all right. The weather's warmed up. We don't have the heat on anymore. The windows are open. We can finally take Athena for walks pretty much every single day. I actually cut the grass for the first time yesterday, so that's another chore to add to the list. But yeah, it's warmer out. Sun is out longer. It's back to a time of the year when you don't just feel like going to sleep as soon as you get home after work.
Speaking of cutting the lawn, I put it up on Facebook, but I said John Connor would be ashamed at me making friends with robots and AI, but I bought and I set up a robot lawnmower.
Yeah, you did say you were going to get one of those, did you?
I'm very interested to hear how well that works. I could see that being just awful.
Well, I had it map the backyard, and it actually mapped most everything it would need to cut. So what I'm going to do is the next coming weekend that it's nice, I'm probably going to take a regular mower and mulch the backyard, or, no, I'll probably get it cleaned up because the grass is a little bit longer. It's got a lot of leaves and other things that I just want to chew up and bag up. But from there, once I have it at the set height, I could just let it run every day. And, as long as my biggest issue is, now dog toys or other things in the backyard, like large sticks, I just need to keep an eye on, clean that up and let it do its thing. So we'll see.
All right. Let's get into the show proper. Let's do our updated trophy count. And I didn't update these. Did anybody else?
No, but also my trophies didn't move, so.
Alex, do you have your trophies? Because I didn't update anybody's.
Yeah, I've got mine up here.
Okay. Stand by, because I got to bring mine up. Yield, you need to get back on the show so we can freaking do this.
Or at least just send us in the trophy list so we can just...
Jesus Christ.
We don't have to...
All right, I'm going to do this as we go. Please stand by. I am level 982, total trophies of 35,506 with 1,029 platinums. I only earned one legit trophy this week. That was in Arc Raiders. Alex, hit me with yours.
Level 532, total trophy count of 11,213, and a platinum count of 207 in 206 games.
Matt, hit me with yours so I can find Yield real quick.
Level 223, 1,373 trophies and 0 platinums.
And
Was that too quick?
yeah, just a hair too quick. It's like you don't care about trophies at all.
You know, I've heard that's what I've said.
Yield is level 543, total trophies of 11,838 with 227 platinums. And Sid is... I'm not putting in the agenda, I'm just going to their profiles.
Sid is a dear friend from across the pond.
Yes, he is. He is level 902, total trophies of 28,161 with 869 platinums. He had to stop at 69, didn't he? Just had to do it. Oh my
Wouldn't you,
lord.
Tricky? Wouldn't you?
I try to stop at 69 all the time. But you know the problem with 69 is once you hit 69 you got to turn around. But wow, no reaction at all. What's up, Dex? How you doing, sir?
I also think that everyone was horrified by that image in their head.
Dex, thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it.
It's about time you were nice to Dex. You're usually shitting on Dex and the people of Australia.
Well, first of all, it's not the people of Australia. It's him from Australia. He says my dad jokes suck. That wasn't a dad joke. That was a very perverted joke. But I'm actually mad at Dex right now because he left me, just like Matt did with Arc Raiders, and decided he's going to start playing Helldivers 2 again. So.
Well, you just think that you're entitled to everyone's time where, like, it's nice to play games with people. You know, the co-op Legends mode for Ghost of Yotei is out now, and it'd be nice to get together with some people and play that.
Is it out?
Oh, shit, it's out now?
I didn't know it was out.
Yep. There's a menu that you can, like, there's options on the menu where you can enter. I think it came out last week, but you can enter, like, mid-game. Like, if you're playing the single-player version, you can just enter Legends co-op from there, or you can do it from the start of the main menu. But
Are there new
we'll have to
trophies?
get together some of that. But yeah, Tricky, come on. If he wants to go play Helldivers, it's Dex's time. Like, he doesn't owe you that.
He says it's for Liberty. There are new trophies
In what?
for Legends.
Yeah, that's what they did last time. I think a lot of the trophies are the same or similar. Like, you have to get a class up to the max level. You have to get all classes up to the max level, and there's also you got to win the raids for another trophy. There's more trophies than that, but a lot of them look very similar to what they did.
Complete all
for the
story
other Legends
missions. Reach 25 with one class. Complete all 4 incursions. Complete a survival mission on gold difficulty or higher. Reach 25 with all classes and complete the raid missions. So what's the difference between a raid and an incursion?
I don't know.
Okay.
All I remember is that the raids were the only thing I couldn't do last game. I got all the other trophies except for the gold trophy for that. But
So far, nobody's earned complete all the raid missions yet. So that's an ultra rare if anybody wants to go get it.
yeah, I mean, it'll probably stay pretty rare. Because, I mean, you think about how many people have the game and then how many people are going to go play the multiplayer. Because a lot of times, like, you'll see for a DLC trophy list, the DLC trophies are rarer. Even if they're easy, they're generally rarer than the main game because
Nobody goes back and gets
people
them.
either have to pay for the DLC, or they have to go back and, you know, at some point a year or so later, people may be done with the game. So it's not a 1-to-1, you know, conversion of people who bought the game to who play the DLC. But especially with the Legends thing, if Legends, you know, people have issues with online co-op, which I get, playing multiplayer, some people just don't want to deal with it. So, I mean, I imagine the Legends trophies will stay decently, or at least rarer than the Ghost of Yotei main game trophies.
Yeah. Right now, they're all at least very rare. All 6 of them are. All right. Let's do. Well, we don't have any Sophie's trophies. I don't know if Sid forgot to send it or didn't get it or what. We did get the rarity update a little late, and the rarity update is coming, and we're going to put that in the show now. This is Yield coming in, recording the rarity update. All right. Thank you, Yield. I don't know what you said because you haven't recorded it yet, and I haven't listened to it yet, obviously. So, but thank you, Yield. Let's get into what we're playing. We'll start with you, Alex. What have you been playing?
Son of a bitch, you always got to come to me first.
Fine. Matt, what have you been playing?
Excellent. Matt, you start us off hot.
Cool. So as I alluded to before, and Dex, I see your comment. Yeah, same. Anyways,
Really? You're going to go down that path, Matt.
figured I might as well agree with him.
I see how it is. I only get the game one time in 2 months, and both of you like, yeah, fuck him.
Well, that's not Dex's fault that you have to work 1,000 hours for 70 years straight.
No, but it is his fault that he's on the other side of the earth and can't be available when I'm ready. Like he sent me a message last night. Legit sent me a message last night going, hey, you going to stream Division soon? I said, well, I'll stream it tomorrow. He goes, well, fuck you. I'll be asleep. Well, don't fucking ask me to stream it for you.
Wow.
No, it's not Dex's fault he lives in Australia. Maybe he likes living in Australia. Also, like, are we taking this where you feel like everyone should speak English? Are we taking it now to where everyone should have to move to the Western Hemisphere so they can game with you?
Matt, do you have a confession for me?
Do I have a confession? I
Yeah.
don't know.
Read the Twitch chat. See, Dex just narked on you.
I didn't want to admit that right to his face, Dex, but that's okay. Go ahead, put it out there.
Dex said in the chat, yeah, Matt and I are playing games together behind your back, Tricky. I see how it is.
Speaking of games I'm playing, obviously not Arc Raiders, but I did finish Resident Evil Requiem, and I can't say enough good things about that game, but you're all going to have to wait for it because I'm talking with Daryl and even maybe Joe Priestley and getting them into a spoiler cast discussion.
Well, it's definitely not
more
being
to
on
come
our
on
site
that.
now.
What'd you say, Trick?
We're definitely not posting that on our site now.
Well, it's up to you. So I played it. The end time was about 12 hours, which is about on average from what I'm seeing online. So I'm very happy with it. Probably won't play through it again. The game does have a split ending. You can get 2 different endings, but if you choose one, it ends in a way that it's like, hey, maybe you want to go back to right before the choice you made and choose the other one this time. So, I ended up choosing the one that didn't give me that option. So I just went online and watched the ending when you made the other choice. So I had a lot of fun with that one. I also put time into Slay the Spire 2, been doing some multiplayer with friends. We haven't cleared the game or the final Act 3 boss yet, but basically that's the part of it, is you keep playing the game, you keep getting unlocks for all the characters. For those of you who played Slay the Spire 1, I'm looking at you, Rick. The new one added 2 new characters you can play as, plus it has a multiplayer mode with up to 4 players. And it is a lot of fun. They're adding new things to the old characters, and it adds a new level of complexity, especially when you're playing with friends and these monsters have like thousands of points of health. So you all got to figure out the best strategy. You can't just go at it blindly. You have to communicate with your teammates and make sure you're doing things in a certain order at times because it's beneficial. Maybe somebody gives buffs to your attacks. Maybe others give you more defense if you do something in a proper order. So definitely take a look at it, especially if you're a PC player, since I think it's only on PC at the moment. It's in early access. So it'll be a while before it's actually released on 1.0. But definitely, if you loved Slay the Spire 1, and I know some of you did, Slay the Spire 2 is right at the same alley. The artwork is better. The game flow is better. It's everything you want it to be, and it's only $25. Like, who can argue with a $25 game that's gives you hundreds of hours of play? Then, as I also mentioned, I did buy and I started playing Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection, and I'm only about, 10 hours into the game. Very early on in the early chapters, I'm just walking around, leveling up my monsters, collecting eggs. There's a mechanic of the game that you have to do like a habitat restoration. It all comes into play when you defend the region against what's known as an invasive species. You push that species back, and it allows you to save an endangered animal. You then breed that animal and release it back out to the wild, and it starts populating that region. And there's a couple different mechanics that come into play there, such as you can then increase that monster standing in the region all the way up to S rank. You could breed monsters that have element effects different than what their base levels are. The monsters can mutate into other variations that, if you're a longtime fan of Monster Hunter, you'll see what those variations are and you'd understand. So if you've played it before, for instance, the Rathian first mutates into the Pink Rathian and then later mutates into the Dread Queen Rathian. It's very early on, not spoiling much, but many monsters can do that as you go throughout the regions. So it's a delicate balance that you have to play. And, I'm running into some monsters that are higher level that are throttling me. So I got to do and move the story ahead in some aspects so I can continue leveling, continue gaining armor and weapons. Just like the normal Monster Hunter gameplay, you got to improve yourself to be able to get further into the game. So that said, I'll continue playing a lot of it through this week. Then I've got to wait for Crimson Desert, which comes out. And Tricky, I know you ended up pre-purchasing that.
Yes, I did.
And I think what I'm probably going to do is try to go back and blow through the rest of Ghost of Yotei, because I would like to finish that before Monster Hunter and Crimson Desert just start eating up the rest of my time. But that's what I've been doing in the last week since we spoke.
All right. Alex, are you ready now?
I'm always ready, Tricky.
Apparently you weren't, because you got upset because I went to you first.
No, man, you just always go to me first. You just pick on me.
I pick on you,
man.
It's not like you showed up on time and ready to record and everything.
Man, I got things I was doing. Anyway.
10 years of podcasting, you think when we start.
Well, I was actually online before we... I was actually on time early, or online early. I just didn't join the room until after 7. Anyway, there is a new War Bond for Helldivers 2 coming out on the 17th, so this coming week. So I'm sure I'll jump in there and buy some of that stuff.
Yeah, don't worry. You got Dex to play with.
Well, great. Maybe we can get Matt, too. And, Tricky, we would play with you if you would actually play Helldivers, but we know that can't happen.
If you guys actually play with me and help me level up, I'd go... I'd play all the time.
We've never said we wouldn't help you.
Every time I've asked you in the last... Well, it has been a while. But every time...
in the last year, you...
No. All the times I asked you, like the last 4 or 5 times I asked you, you're like, oh, nope, I'm busy.
Sometimes life gets a hold of you, man. You can't get out.
So
life ensnares you.
So don't say I don't ask. I ask. And then you got, life's ensnaring you. Yeah. I'm over here eating a mozzarella stick, by the way.
When you work 2 straight months.
I'm over here eating mozzarella sticks, just so you know.
Eating what?
A mozzarella stick.
Who doesn't love moose rail? Anyway. So, yeah, Rocket League.
Fuck you, Dex.
There's a new pass out there, so playing some Rocket League. By the way, the new Rocket Pass, I don't really like a ton in the Rocket Pass, but there are some dragon wheels, and then some of the goal scores are really fucking nice. I do enjoy the goal scores, so that kind of sold me on the new Rocket Pass. But mainly what I've been busting through is Ghost of Yotei. I talked about it for the past couple weeks now. Overall, I am only missing 5 trophies at this point, including the Platinum. Most of them are just story related, so I got one more collectible to go, and then it's just story. I'll be able to finish it out. Once I cleared most of the side stuff and the collectibles, I kind of caught a second wind, because then I could just focus on the story and the combat, and that was, a lot more... Me being able to focus on one thing is a lot better for, me enjoying a game. So, getting to focus on chasing down the Yotei 6, and I will say that all the Yotei 6, the way they fight, their boss fights are all very different, so I do appreciate that. I think it gives them even more personality, like having the setups for their actual fights to be, unique. That just lends more to the character, so I do like how the Sucker Punch handled those. There are a few things in the game, like side quests, like the Sumi-E paintings. I love the art style and all the paintings come out really pretty, but you're essentially, it's like the haikus from the first game. You're just using the touchpad to do these really easy tasks like drawing lines with your fingers, and they feel just kind of like, I know it's part of the culture and it all feeds into the world, but those in the haikus like take no skill, so they felt like you were just chasing down things that were just useless just to do them.
That's why I did the auto solve. I didn't even bother doing it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like again, the pictures are really pretty, and it allows you to explore and appreciate the beauty of Ezo. At the same time, though, as missions, they're just not. They're just kind of nothing. So, but I do like the puzzle boxes. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I got a question for you. Talking about things that the game does. After the first time, did you spend any time starting fires, like at the campfires,
Nope.
or cooking, or did you just skip that every time for the rest of the game?
I actually kind of I got kind of annoyed every time I had to start a fire. Like because you can set up a camp anywhere in the world, and that counts as like a place you can fast travel to. So the camps actually serve a very good purpose. Now the fast travel in this game is amazing. They do that incredibly well. But I wouldn't start a fire. I would just camp. But as soon as you camp, you don't have to do anything. You automatically have your spirit and your health refilled, which is really nice. But after a while of having to do like there's some missions where you have to start a fire for people. It got kind of annoying to have to do it over and over again. It doesn't make you do it a ton, but after a while, it's just like, oh, come on, I got to sit here and take the time to do this.
No, you can set it to auto start, right?
Well, I know they allow you to use accessibility features, but I never went into the menu to turn any of those on.
Well, I will tell you, and you're going to want to start quite a number of fires.
Okay.
That's literally, if you want the platinum, you're going to have to start a lot of fires.
What do you mean if I want the platinum? I said that I literally have, the only trophies I have are to beat the last two members of the Yotei 6 and then go get one more gift for the owner Yo, and I'm done. Like, that's the platinum.
I just looked, you have another one.
Yeah, it's the 10 either bow or play your shamisen at 10 special places on the world. I'm up to 8 now. I got 2 more to go. Like, that has nothing to do with starting fire. You either bow or you play your shamisen. That's not starting fires.
Okay.
But this is also like, so you guys played it up like your next interaction with Saito is something big. Nothing happened. Nothing happened at all. Now there may be another like, maybe you were hinting to something further on down the road, but I've killed one of the Saito brothers and I'm now hunting down the second one. I killed the dragon. I'm hunting down the spider. And maybe what you guys ran into is coming down further down the road. But my next interaction with Saito, which you guys talked about, I mean, there was like no spoilers to be had. I mean, oh no, I don't know.
I wanted to see what your reaction was because as I went into it, I was like, all right, how's this gonna fuck up? Because obviously you're not gonna get the chance to kill him.
Oh yeah, because you fight him, and then like I said, like happens multiple times in this game, they Sly Cooper to you, and the bosses escape or they get some advantage somehow, and you don't actually fight them. So every time you encounter a boss, it's like, am I actually going to get to fight you now? Am I?
But I felt he was very cunning in that moment / very whimsical, like you were just a fly in his way to what was going on, what his bigger plan was. I liked his interaction with Atsu at that point. It was definitely a go play something else, little girl.
Fair. I mean, that is fair. I think that Saito is a guy who's kind of always been one step ahead. Like, there was a point in the game, and I'm not going to spoil it because the game is only 5-6 months old at this point, 5-6 months. But there was a point in the game where you have a chance to... You're setting a trap, essentially, and I'm like, no, don't do this. Just go ahead and do the thing. Just do the thing. Don't set this trap because it's going to fuck you. And, of course, it fucks you. But, there's been moments in the story. I guess the one thing I have an issue with the story is that, and I do like the story of the game, but I think that there are, especially for me, one particular moment where you can see the outcome ahead of you, and you're like, God dang it, I would not. It's like you're watching a horror movie, and the protagonist says something stupid that's going to get them killed, and you're like, don't do that, don't go down there, don't split up, do not do this. And it kind of happens in this game. Not where anyone gets killed or anything, but like, you know that what you're doing isn't going to work, and the character in the story is still going to lead you down this path, and you're like, oh, why? Oh, getting back to the Sumi paintings though, the puzzle boxes. I was gonna say I did enjoy those. Those you collect in Teshio Ridge when you're going up to the Kitsune because they're not overly difficult, but it's a nice little like use your brain moment where it's kind of different from everything else you do in the world. Like it's like a regional difference that I really appreciate. Like instead of having all the same shit to do in every region, they do mix it up a little bit, which I do appreciate. So, but now that I'm able to focus on the story more, I've got my second wind. I'm not kind of like over the game. I'm not tired of the game. I was able to break through that wall, and now I'm just going after the Yotei 6 and enjoying the story, and that's the best place for me to be. So I was able to get through everything, and I'm at the point now where it's just a pure, roller coaster ride. So we'll see how the rest of it plays out and how much I enjoy it. But I mean, overall, gameplay wise, like there's not really anything negative I can say about this game. A few quibbles here and there, but the biggest thing I can hold against this game is that at times it feels like it's overwhelming and there's too much to do. But in 2026, it's a modern open world game. It's a modern sandbox game. So at that point, you just kind of have to ask yourself, is this style of game for me anymore? So not really anything against Ghost of Yotei, but yeah, I'm wrapping that up. By the time we talk next, I should have the Platinum Trophy, and hopefully we'll have some feedback on Legends, because I'll jump in there and do Legends before I try to do my New Game Plus run.
All right, and the only thing I've been playing is my jumping games, which obviously I just got my 2 platinums. Alex, do you know which ones I got this week?
I did not see. You got the jumping lasagna last week and the jumping falafel or whatever last week. So I don't know what kind of. You need to get the jumping baklava at some point. I hope that's out there.
I don't.
Friends in Greece.
I don't know if I do. But I got the kebab turbo this week and a jumping ice cream.
Oh, we talked about the jumping ice cream.
Yes.
So
I did the turbo edition before. This is the actual normal vanilla version of ice cream.
Ah, okay.
What up? Psh. You guys are killing me. That was a good joke.
You're killing us. You're killing the room.
I
played the vibe, Tricky.
I played 2 rounds of Ark. My first round, I was able to do a mission that I was trying to do, and the other mission I went in with some randoms because I was trying to get a mission done. I figured I'd have some protection, and we got yanked 10 seconds into the match by other players. So turn that off. And the only other thing I think we're playing was The Division, because they're going through their 10th anniversary, and I'm working my way through everything with that. Like I said last week, they brought in 2 global events from the first game into this one, so that's good. I'm hoping to get the announcement for crossplay soon so I can play with Matt, because I really want to go through the game again. I have not played realistic mode, and I don't think I'm going to play realistic mode on that. I don't know, it just feels like the wrong way to play the game. So, but that's all I've been playing. So, I'm just looking at my list. I did play Sons of Sparta a little bit, but not much. Other than that, that's it. But I do have my my Pro set up, and I have my other PlayStation 5 in its carrying case for work, so I can bring that to work whenever I want. So,
Ricky, you do realize you bought a PlayStation 5 Pro, just to play jumping games on it, right?
You know, you and Gareth must talk behind the scenes, because he said the exact same thing.
Well, first of all, we're just observant fellows. I mean, I would love to talk to Gareth more, but we did not. We just raise your hand if you had that thought about Tricky, with how much he talks about playing jumping games. Oh yeah, everyone raised their hand. Okay, we can move on.
Nobody raised their hand.
You don't know, Matt. Were you raising your hand?
I played the 5th.
Sounds like a yes to me.
Matt, I'm going to throw it over to you for our topics.
Guess what, folks? It's the middle of the month, and that means PlayStation Plus games catalog is updated for March, and here are your PlayStation Plus games at the varying levels. PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium will get you Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which I think is a fabulous game. I enjoyed my time with it. And then there's EA Sports Madden NFL 26. Yay. Listen, folks, if you wanted to play Madden, you already bought it and played it. Then there's Persona 5 Royal, the updated version of Persona 5, which is a great RPG. So you get Persona 5 Royal for the PS5 and PS4, and then Persona 5 Royal Ultimate Edition for the PS4, which includes the Royal DLC pack. Not sure why they did it that way. Blasphemous 2 for the PS4, PS5, Metal Eden for the PS5, Lords of the Rings Return to Moria for the PS5, which is kind of like a Lord of the Rings city builder, Astroneer, which is a planet exploration city builder, and then at PlayStation Plus Premium, you get Tekken Dark Resurrection. High quality games.
Am I the only one that just sits there and thinks about the fact that Sony is just squandering their opportunity they have with PlayStation Premium and the Classics catalog? Am I the only one that thinks they're doing a shit job of supporting that?
Yes.
You don't agree? You think they're doing a good job? You think to the fullest extent they're doing what they can?
I'm just trained to disagree with you.
No, I'm not. I'm asking you to not fuck around right now. Like seriously.
Okay. In all seriousness, my attention was focused on my mutual stick, and I didn't hear what you said. I just said it as a joke. Could you repeat what you said? I'm sorry.
No, I'm very critical of. I mean, I think that Sony PlayStation Plus is still a good deal. I think the Essential is the good deal. I think everything else is kind of questionable. But that's also because I had Premium for 2 years, and so maybe I just played a lot. But I think that Sony has truly squandered whatever opportunity they had with Premium and the Classics catalog. And we've seen this with Nintendo because I don't think Nintendo has, as well as they could have, supported their retro channels on the Switch as well as they could have. Or, maybe I'm not paying attention anymore, but for a while there, like the SNES, the NES, like there were so many games they could put on there and they just didn't do all that much with it. But I feel like the Classics catalog for Sony, like I would never even consider buying Premium because that's the reason you would buy Premium, and the Classics catalog just isn't. It's just not even anything worth worrying about at this point.
I don't know if I would say it's not worth worrying about. I mean, there are some quality games on there. I think they started off really strong with the games that they were offering, and it's kind of died off now. I mean, there's not as many good games that you can put out there now, because I think that, like I said, I think they just started off strong, and now they're getting to the bottom of it where they're like, oh, okay, we can release this. Oh, okay, we can release that. So
see, I completely disagree. They have an entire PlayStation 2 library that they could put on there. Like, yeah, the Time Splitters games made their way there, but the PlayStation 2 library is known as one of the greatest in all of gaming history. You have a full library to pull from, and I've looked, because I've considered at some points to re-upping to Premium based on whatever was going to be on that Classics catalog, and they're not putting a lot of PS2 games in there, I can tell you that much.
all right, well, okay, so what PS2 game that you can think off the top of your head that, is not available?
Oh, honestly, I would have to go through. There's a ton, Tricky. Like, go through the list. Like, they don't have a whole lot of games on that list.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Is like, off the top of your head, what classic game would you want on the service that's not available yet?
I mean, I'm pretty sure the first Beyond Good and Evil is on there.
Let me look.
The Bouncer isn't on there from Square Enix. I don't care about sports games, but like, I don't think you have any. Well, I guess NBA Street, NFL Street, I would love to have those on there.
I think Street was available.
And not on Premium, no way.
I believe it was. There's a Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition.
Oh, there is? Okay.
Yes. And what was
Is
the
that
other
on
one?
Premium,
NFL
or
Street?
is it on?
It's on Premium. NFL Street was the other one?
Well, I said NFL, NBA Street. I mean, NHL Hits, Slugfest, and a lot of stuff that Sony owns. I mean, I still don't think that they are taking advantage of the Premium catalog as well as they can. And I've looked at the list recently, so.
Okay. I kind of monopolized the time there, Matt. What do you think?
I try not to think on matters that don't involve
Maybe.
me.
I mean, maybe this is a thing where I need to get a list of all the games that are on there, and we can talk about this at another point. But I've looked at the list recently, and I'm like, they could have so much more on here.
I don't know what their deals are as far as, you know, third party games. As far as first party games, I think they've put everything that they could on there. And I've said this in the past, they need to up their game as to what they're offering at the essential level, and maybe circle back to some games that people didn't have a chance to get to earlier. But I've always said, and it's been a while now, I'm going to have to subscribe if I want to play Legends online with some friends. But I'm at a point now where it's like, why am I going to continue just pumping money towards a system, either this or Game Pass, and and not play all of the games they have, because I don't have that sort of time. And then on top of that, I have a PC where I get to play all the games I want online with friends for nothing monthly.
Well, Tricky, I'll hit on something that you, or go back to circle back to something you said, and that you feel like they started out better and they kind of have trailed off here recently. And I think that that's a disturbing trend when it comes to not just PlayStation Plus, but like with the Nintendo stuff and, you know, other subscription services. They want to convince you to sub at the very beginning, and then over time they just expect you to continue to sub, and like you're too lazy to unsubscribe, or you just get used to see, or like you don't look at the money coming out of your account, you just keep subscribed because that's what you've always done. And then over time, after they've gotten you to subscribe, the content gets less and less. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you also got to look at the fact that people, they may only expect people to subscribe for a certain amount of time, and if they get anything more than that, it's a bonus. So if I don't know this, and I'm just, you know, making I can't say the word hypotenuse.
Hypothesis.
Thank you. Some words I just can't say. Let's just say, like they say, okay, if we can get people to subscribe for 6 months out of the year, we're good. And anything over that's a bonus. So if they come out strong, get everybody out there, they can say, oh, yeah, this is a success. This is good. You know, they can show this to the shareholders saying, hey, we got this many subs. And then they don't really worry about it because they've already made their money back, or whatever the case may be. And yeah, there are probably people still paying right now because either they're too lazy or forgot to end their subscription. So I don't know. Like me personally, I don't go back and play the classic games because I'm too busy with other games, and also I know this is a hot take, but the graphics really bother me if they're not upgraded somewhat. So when they just take the game and just say, okay, here's the original game in its original format, original graphics, everything, that kind of annoys me a little bit. So I stay away from them. The only game I went back and played with the original graphics was the original Metal Gear Solid, but I bought that, and I knew what I was getting into when I bought it. So that's just the way it is with me.
Alrighty. Well, folks, there's your PS Plus rental games for the month. Next article comes from Tricky's favorite place, IGN, and his favorite editorialist, Rebecca Valentine. EA has laid off an unknown number of individuals across its Battlefield teams, including workers at Criterion, DICE, Ripple Effect, and Motive Studios. Individuals are being informed the layoffs are taking place as part of realignment across the Battlefield studios. So, the giant purchase that occurred really, saving the developers. And the interesting thing is Battlefield 6 actually had a decent launch. It was not plagued with issues. It was generally received very well, though over time people started bemoaning the lack of diverse maps. Maybe maps were too small in certain aspects. I know I bought it and I kind of played a couple matches, but it's not a bad game. That being said, EA continues to prove that they're a shit company. Like, I'm sorry. They continue to make decisions that end up in laying off people from their studios.
But do you think this was the same EA shitty people, or you think this is the bigger company saying, hey, we got to cut staff?
I think it's all the same now. It's regardless of what it is. It's EA being EA. It doesn't matter who's in lead now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really great that we lost the people from the Criterion, the home of Burnout, and EA Motive, the home of the Dead Space remake. Yeah, that's great. We have less of those people around. I mean, I love when these companies let people go, and it happens at every company. So I guess in this instance, we shouldn't completely shit on EA. Although Matt, you're welcome to continue if you would like. I'm not going to defend EA, but they use words like realignment, like that's the offensive blow, like it makes it any better. They find these terms that instead of just saying, yeah, people lost their jobs, we fired people, it's like, oh, there's a realignment, a shift towards our company goals. And they act like that kind of corporate speak makes it any better. And you can just kind of point it out in every single one of these press releases and it's just like, man, I'm tired of hearing this bullshit. It just reminds you of how corporate all of these game makers really are. No matter which ones you like, they're all. I mean, EA's bad. You know, EA is not great, but I can't even remember the last time I bought an EA game.
Well, you get one for free with PlayStation Plus now.
Which one is that?
Madden.
Oh well, I won't be taking advantage of that. So I guess I'm getting zero free games.
Oh, okay, it's your loss. No, I'm not playing Madden either. I haven't played Madden in probably 10 years.
That's less time you could be playing NHL.
I haven't actually played. I haven't played NHL. I own NHL and I still haven't played it. I have the new one.
That boggles my mind. The fact that you're a NHL fan, like an actual like massive like when it comes to sports, that's the one you watch the most, and then you don't play the video game to play as like your favorite team, so you can go like undefeated through the regular season and win the Stanley Cup for your Rangers.
You know, here's the wild thing. It's I have two choices with that game. I can either play as the Rangers as they are, or I create a player. But like when I create a player in, I don't know if it was 24 or 25. When I create a player, you have to go through the draft, and I was drafted by the Blackhawks, and I've been on their team for 2 seasons now, and I'm the number one player on the entire team. I lead their team in goals and assists, and like I just want to be traded to the Rangers, man, or become a free agent so I can sign with the Rangers.
First world problems, but
yes.
Can you not be like the GM of the Rangers and make like a super team and just dominate for years to come, like build a dynasty?
Yeah, but then you don't play the game. You're just managing. What fun is that?
Stupid.
So, I mean, there's no fun in that. So, yeah, EA, I don't know why they would lay off people after having, such a great launch with Battlefield 6. I mean, everybody's saying Battlefield 6 was the Call of Duty killer this year, wasn't it?
It beat Call of Duty in sales, but I think, and it's been said, it doesn't speak to the quality of Battlefield 6. It speaks to the lack of quality in Call of Duty.
That's a fair statement, yes. Yeah. I mean, I really don't have an opinion about this. It sucks that these people lost their jobs. But, if I could say, if anybody could say they didn't see this coming with their big merger, I'd be calling them a liar, because every time there's a big merger like this, there's going to be, a lot of layoffs, a lot of redundancy.
Well, redundancies, yeah, that's the word they love to use.
Yeah, so.
I don't know how much good you can expect to come from EA these days. I think they've been a villain for so many years now, and even when it looks like they were going to be, like they support Hazelight, who did Split Fiction, and oh gosh, what was the other one? Game of the Year.
It Takes Two.
It Takes Two. They show promise, and like you go all the way back to when they announced Mirror's Edge and Dead Space originally, way back in the day in like 2007, 2006, whenever it was, and like they always just find a way to make you hate them again. So, yeah, whenever it comes to EA, either it's there may be occasional good news here or there, but most of the time, I feel like whenever we talk about EA, my response to my thought immediately is like, well, that's EA. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't have any more thoughts on this, Matt.
Okay. Relevant to our over the ocean listeners, video game PEGI age ratings are changing in Europe, and it's probably not good news for EA Sports FC Football Club, coming from Eurogamer.net. So basically, what the outline is that the PEGI system, which is basically our ESRB brethren over in Europe, is changing because of games that have in-app purchases, microtransactions, things like that. And what this means is that there are various levels of games like EA Sports Football Club, which generally was rated a PEGI 3, which means, I think it goes for age ratings. I don't know if 3 years old is the actual rating there, but basically that is good for all players. But now they are judging it on extra criteria, such as in-app purchases, paid random items, and play by appointment. And this one was the most confusing of them to me. But this kind of design relates to battle passes. So basically you have to play within a certain amount of time to be able to get the items. And then criteria for online community, trying to fight potential online toxicity. And the changes come into effect in June. And, if a game has these things where previously might have been rated a lower PEGI rating, it now gets rated a higher one. So interesting change. Do you guys think that we're going to see anything similar with the ESRB over here?
There's been calls for them to change the ESRB for a while now, hasn't it?
I think people have said ESRB needs to do something, otherwise the government's going to step in.
Because right now it's not regulated by anybody, right? There's no government oversight or anything like that. Right.
Yeah.
I think so, because, and I don't want to make this political, but with the way this country is going, and everybody's all hypersensitive about everything, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, I think something's is gonna crack, and they're gonna start saying we have to regulate this the way I see changes happening, and I don't see them for the good.
Alex, what do you think?
I mean, it seems like the European market has always been, like, whether it be video game content or marketing for getting video game content, they've always been more no nonsense about that than we have over here in the States. I don't want to say had a cowboy mentality about it, but it's just they're like, you see companies get sued for shit over there, and then they have to change their processes and their programs based on what the European market does and the expectations of the European market. I don't necessarily know that means things are going to change for over here, but yeah, I still think that I still think, because obviously football in this particular instance is a massive, it's the biggest sport in the world, the most popular sport in the world outside the US. And I feel like a ratings change isn't going to be enough to where people are just all of a sudden going to not play a game like that or not buy that for their kids. It's a soccer game. People are, I imagine we over here, we try to get our young, if we love sports, parents a lot of times I think will try to get their kids involved in sports as well. Whether it be playing sports in youth leagues or watching sports with them on TV, it's like a bonding thing. So I think that the same would go for our European friends, and they would want to, if they love football, they would want their kids to get into it and play it. And, I still play the video game, so I don't see a ratings change as any kind of big issue as far as this goes. So it's just, plus, I mean, when it comes to a 3-year-old, how coordinated are they to play a video game? Their hand-eye coordination, like.
You'd be surprised.
So, maybe, but I think that this isn't going to mean any tremendous drop in sales. I think people will still buy these games for their kids and still play them with their kids, and it'll still be a wildly popular thing because it's still at the heart of it, football, which is the most popular sport in the world. So
Okay. Coming
I mean, to kind of counteract Tricky, I mean, you look at, they will allow far more violent and risque content here in the US in video games than they will, say, in Australia. Games that get banned in Australia still come out here. So if you're worried about that kind of thing, I think the US is kind of going to be the last stand for that, because the content that's allowed here, I think, is going to be more free than any other place in the world. I just don't think we're as strict about that kind of stuff.
Next article coming in from SAG-AFTRA's main website. They have issued a do not work order for the production entitled Mega Man Dual Override, and that comes because the voice actor for Mega Man that's been playing him recently in the recent Mega Man games has advised and shared on Blue Sky that he would no longer continue to voice the character, and he has claimed that the studio asked him to return to work without the protections of a union contract. So Driskin advised that, shedding light on the situation, that there are full AI protections in place that guarantee the writing that his voice will never be used for AI development, but that the project will not go union. So he appreciates the acknowledgement of the concern around AI, but that working out a contract realistically can't enforce something that he's looking for, so he isn't risking it. And we all know with AI these days, that's the big concern. You have voice actors who are lending their voice to a project, and they don't want it taken later down the line after they've disengaged from the project and being used for something else. So we know that unionization in both development and the acting world has come into limelight recently, especially with the advent of AI and what it can do. So that's basically what happened, is that SAG-AFTRA has said, well, listen, if you're covered under us, none of you are to work with this project, which, the Mega Man games are not exactly small beans. Capcom is doing really well with them recently. So,
well, Capcom's done their best to not put out new Mega Man games. I mean, the last one, Mega Man 11, came out in 2018, which is crazy to say.
Also, Mega Man's not really known for their voice actors either.
Well, Mega Man has added it recently to a lot of their games, so that's why they're kind of looking at it to say it's interesting that they'd ask them to work without the protection of the union contract. So Mega Man does decent sales, and for them to not have the ability to hire a union actor doesn't mean that they aren't going to find somebody who's willing to go in there and say, fuck it, I can do it. So it's a shame on Capcom for
but if somebody does it,
games.
But if somebody does it, are they technically, I don't want to say crossing the picket line because that's the wrong term, but are they really violating anything?
I don't think so, because I don't think Capcom is beholden to the union of workers. I think they can get anybody they like. It's just when they have the pool of union workers, it speaks to the talent and the assurance that they have a good person working for them. So I don't know. I'm not as familiar with that aspect of the industry, but I will say the fact that SAG-AFTRA came out and said, don't work, means that there's a big issue as far as talent pool for going to that game. But I don't know the varying levels of Mega Man's voice in the games, so it could be as simple as finding somebody just to give oohs and ahs. But
here's also the question: is this only affecting the Mega Man game? Because obviously, like Capcom's got voice actors for Resident Evil. Are those actors part of SAG?
According to the do not work order, it's only for that project.
Right. So it's really weird that Capcom would say, we're not going to unionize for Mega Man, but we're going to unionize for other things. And I'm just making the assumption that they did unionize with the other games, like Street Fighter and Resident Evil and stuff like that. It's really weird that they would say we're not going to unionize for this one, unless they feel like the voice acting on this isn't as important as it is for the other games.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the video game like companies like Capcom and other video game companies expect when it comes to. I mean, you don't have the union protection in the video game industry, or in most cases, you don't have it. We started to see some companies try or some unions try to form up, but voice actors, like, yeah, of course they're going to have the protection of SAG-AFTRA because why would you if you already have the protection, why wouldn't you use it? Why would you agree not to use it anymore just for the sake of this one game or this one series? And if they're doing this now with Mega Man, you know they've got to be they might be doing it for other stuff too. It's not like this is Mega Man's like I don't know why you would just do it for Mega Man, not others, which to Tricky's point. Oh, I also need to clarify because I got super excited a couple weeks ago when I said they revealed the Mega Man Dual Override / Mega Man 12 Robot Masters. Well, they revealed the finalists for the design contest, and they also revealed the silhouettes for the Robot Masters. So we still, at least as far as this recording goes, still don't have the actual Robot Master reveal, but hopefully we get that relatively soon because I need me some Mega Man 12.
Okay. And that is it for our news articles this week. Now, I did post in the group asking for questions.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
And there's no questions. So, moving on to our topic of the week.
I just wanted to make sure I got it in there because I knew you were going to try to skip it. Oh, now I don't know what button to press for the other one. There we go.
First time doing this.
Toe. Topic of the week. Well, fine then. Fuck you, Matt.
Very good. Very good.
Is it just delayed or you just didn't go right away?
I didn't go right away.
Okay.
So edit that out. All right. Coming this week, this is, a larger topic as far as the industry goes. So, but the article coming from Video Games Chronicle and the posted by Andy Robinson, Sega says strong reviews for its recent games aren't yet translating to better sales. So they said in the last 18 months, they've released a veritable roster of critical hits, including Shinobi Art of a Vengeance, which had a Metacritic score of 87, Two Point Museum of Metacritic 84, Metaphor ReFantazio, Metacritic of 94, Sonic Racing Crossworlds, Metacritic of 82. However, in the latest financial results Q&A, Sega claims that the high valuations of recent titles haven't translated to improved sales. It didn't mention specific titles, but it called out last year's Crossworlds as not having met its initial sales expectations. So as we look at this, there's the Sega thing in general. Are they making good games? Well, if you look at Metacritic, it seems to be that they're making some great ones. Metaphor having the highest score there, and the rest having, this goes back to the whole scoring issue where, 7's a shit game, 8 is a good game, 9 is, you should try it out, and 10 is, well, there's issues. So I look at this as the industry as a whole, and I go, is game scoring, outdated? Do we still have problems with game scoring? As I just said, whether it's a 5 scale or a 10 scale, I've always looked at it to say 5 is supposed to be an average game. Not good, not bad. It's meant for specific people. And as you go higher on those scales, it means that it's good for its type. And then there's those 9s and 10s that are fantastic games and everybody should be able to play them. But on such a subjective thing, trying to make an objective score, can we still use game ratings as a litmus test to a game's being good? I remember the days of GamePro magazine where they had 5 different ratings: graphics, sound, game design, fun factor. And I'm like, as a reviewer, I always thought you're not supposed to be reviewing a game based on your subjective thoughts of whether it's a good whether you had fun with it or not. You're supposed to review it, at least in my mind, as to whether it does what it sets out to. Are there technical issues that prevented you from finishing it? Are you, are there graphical glitches? Are the graphics done well? What's the game design like? Does it do the things it's supposed to be doing? That's at least my perception of what game reviews should be doing. And that's why I think, to me personally, a game rating means nothing. But I'll read a review to see what what the writer says. And if I start seeing things like saying, well, it's an all-male cast and therefore we're rating this low, okay, I'm not taking that into consideration. I'm taking, does the game do what it's supposed to do? That's what I'm trying to get at. So I don't know. What do you guys think about game ratings? Tricky?
Like you say, it's all subjective, because I would think, like, using Division, for example, if I play the Division, I'm going to rate it a 9 or a 10. Because the 9 or a 10 means something different to everybody else. Alex might play the same game, and he's like, oh, it's a 6 or it's a 7. I don't know what you would give it as. But the point is that it's all subjective. So back when we were still reviewing games on the site, and we started off with a 10-point scale, and then we moved to a rent, buy, or pass system, because that's really what people want to know. Is I at least with me, I never look at the score of a game and say, okay, this is an 8 or this is a 9. Okay, this is a must play. I look at the fact of, okay, am I interested in the story material? For example, Crimson Desert. We talked about it last week on the show. I went and looked up a video for it, and then I posted showing you guys I liked it enough where I bought the deluxe edition. And one of the first comments in our comment thread was Yield saying, wow, I'm surprised you bought that. It doesn't seem like that would interest you at all. That's the whole thing, is like, on the surface, it doesn't look like a good game. And listening to somebody else tell me about it doesn't really do anything for me. I need to experience it myself enough that I went out and bought the deluxe version of the game. So scores to me are useless. You could rate a game a 2, but if it's fun to play, I'm still going to want to play it. I'll deal with the issues because it's that much fun to me to play the game. Where, if it's not fun, but it has the best graphics in the world, a la the new Zelda games, I'm not going to play them. That wasn't a shot at you, Matt. I'm just saying, like,
I was going to say.
It's not a shot at you. It's just that's not what I play Zelda for. So the games don't interest me. Even though I beat the first one, and I didn't even get out of the starting area on the second one.
And I looked at this article to say, Sega saying, listen, we had critically acclaimed games, but that didn't mean that there were sales. So what that's telling me is that even though that they were rated high, people aren't going out and buying them off of the rating. I think people are buying games off of word of mouth. Metaphor being a Japanese RPG kind of still has a niche audience. So I wonder if maybe, even though it was rated very well, it still didn't meet the kind of things that make a game purchasable. Alex, do you have any thoughts? I didn't want to ask you another question without giving you an opportunity to maybe address trickier. Maybe.
So I think nowadays people pay attention to, I know Metacritic's still a thing and game reviews are still a thing. I think people these days, especially people who have played games long enough like us, we can kind of judge for ourselves and see, we may not know intricate details, but we get enough information beforehand to be able to tell whether the game's going to be a stinker or not. And maybe we do have friends that we rely on, say, I think Thomas brought up Crimson Desert at first. And so, there is some level of word of mouth, but it comes from your own community, your group of friends, and not necessarily from reviews. So maybe it's just my own personal feelings, but I don't really pay attention to reviews all that much, because generally if I'm set on a game, I'm, what did I care what Ghost of Yotei scored? I knew from Sucker Punch. I saw what he did with the first game. Like, I knew it was a buy for me at some point. So, you know, it's some level of word of mouth from a community that I've built, but more so it's my own judgment. I mean, that really what drives my game purchases. It's not necessarily, and a lot of times, you know, yeah, we do have subscription services where people play games as part, like there's no buy-in. It's like you have the subscription already, so you already have entry into that game, and so people are probably, you know, buying fewer games these days and, you know, subscribing to just a game service. You know, we still spend a lot of money on games, but because of sales, because games can at times become cheaper, like, you know, games are sometimes on sale 3 months after they come out, and because they come to subscription services like Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, like there's not as much of a buy-in as there used to be. Like, you used to, if you wanted to get a game, you know, after Blockbuster died out, you had to buy it. Like, there was no, unless I'm not, well, I mean, I guess there was GameFly and stuff like that, but yes, you could rent games, but really the best feasible thing, because even GameFly and Gamerang and all that went away after a certain point, you had to buy the game, and now there's just options as to how you can actually consume games.
I think the other thing is, like you said, between GameFly, between services like Game Pass or PS Plus that put games out there available, we've talked about that in the past, where, you know, a service may cannibalize sales. So maybe people are waiting. Maybe it's $70, $80 games that people are like, well, I'm just not going to be buying games at launch anymore. It makes me worried that, again, going back to GameSpot Gate, where Jeff Gertzman got fired for a low rating of Kane and Lynch 2, that sites are still putting a lot of value on a game score because they know if they rate the game well, they'll get more hits or they'll get more ad revenue, and the developer is gonna, or I should say the publisher, will buy into those articles. So I always look at scores and I say it's nice to understand it, but until there's some sort of objective rating system, I don't know if scores will ever truly be relevant anymore compared to what they were back in the day, when there's some sort of trust in games journalism. And to say, is it really indicative of the game being a good game? Meaning, does it functionally do what it's supposed to do? Or are there subjective things there to say, well, it's an RPG, I don't like RPGs, therefore I'm going to rate it lower because, you know, I don't understand the things that are in the game.
See, and I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off, but see, that's also a valid point, is that if you give me a first-person shooter to review, I'm not going to enjoy it, say, somebody like, I don't know, Daryl. So it really also comes down to who's reviewing the game, to the style of the game. Like, I wouldn't send Alex to go review a Metal Gear game. It's not his type of game. But I would send him...
0 out of 10.
But I would send him to go review, like, a Ghost game.
But in my mind, as a reviewer, I'm not charging you with enjoying the game. I'm charging you with reviewing it. Does it do what it set out to do? Now, you could argue, well, games are set out to be enjoyed, but not as a reviewer. As a reviewer, you know, I'm tasking you, does the game function? Does it achieve the things it's supposed to set out to do as a game? Enjoyment being one of them. In other words, are people, and maybe this is kind of your point, Tricky, is, are people who enjoy this type of game going to enjoy it? So maybe you do have to have a level of
interest,
pedigree in that version. But I go back to The Verge not being able to get past the opening level of Cuphead and them rating it poorly, and then people are going out, you didn't get past the tutorial level. How can you freaking rate a game you couldn't even do? I get that. So maybe you have to find special reviewers, but they need to have an objective system to rate the game on. Take personal feelings out of it and just say, does it do what it's supposed to do? And Dex is in chat, says, for him personally, he just wait and see gameplay from streamers or YouTubers so they can gauge of what they are getting into.
Yeah, but his opinion isn't valid because he still thinks Concord's a good game. I'm not taking a shot at him. I'm just saying, like, critically, everybody hated Concord, but Dex still loves Concord. So, you know, Dex, like, if you send him to go review Concord, it might give the wrong impression to a lot of gamers because they're not gonna know what they're getting themselves into. He says it's a good game. I played it. But
you and all 200 people, Dex.
But I mean that's
Dex talking about Concord again.
yes.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad Dex enjoyed Concord. I
But-
wish he was still around for Dex.
But see that's kind of to my point. Is like if you go send Dex to go review Concord, and you send I don't know 100 other people to go do it, you're gonna get a lot of pissed off people because they're like, what the hell is this? Because when they actually go play and after they buy it, so I mean maybe that would be good for Sony because they actually could have made sales on their game, but in the long run, you have to send the right reviewer, and the problem with that is not only do you have to send the right reviewer, but you also need a proper review scale. And, like IGN used to say all the time, like a 10 doesn't mean it's a perfect game. It's just a masterpiece. Well, what's a masterpiece to me is not a masterpiece to you.
But that's what I'm saying, though, is a masterpiece is the game does all the things it's set out to do and it does them well. There's no technical issues. The graphics hold up. The game design holds up. It exemplifies a developer at the top of their skill. Like I would look at Ghost of Yotei and say, is it a 10? No, because maybe the story is a little overdone. Maybe it's too repeated elsewhere. That could be a person's personal preference. Another person could say, well, that's a great story. I love it. But a 10 was always meant to be a game does what a game's supposed to do. It functions well. It can be enjoyed by the right people, maybe not everybody. And Dex says we should send Tricky to review Shovelware. Well, he plays enough. He could review them.
Well, the problem with that is Tricky would give them all 10s out of 10s because they gave him an easy platinum. The problem is that, and this has been something that you've seen with games reviews for more than a decade now, is that the idea that you have to find the right person, like the Madden guy to review Madden, and it's like, if this is your job, if you are a games journalist or you're a critic or a reviewer, you should be able to fairly review any game and not just be like, well, I don't like Madden, so I can't give Madden a fair score.
Well, no.
Then you're not doing your job.
Hold on, but Alex,
That's the problem is you have to find specific people to play. Like,
that's not fair, Alex. It's because you used to review games for Sarcastic Gamer. Did you ever get a game that wasn't in your wheelhouse?
Okay, well, this is a poor comparison because I was never I have never been paid. I've gotten some things like gift cards and stuff like that. I have gotten some form of payment for various things I've done, but I've never been employed as a games reviewer.
No, I'm not saying you got paid for it. I'm saying when you work for Sarcastic Gamer, did anybody ever give you a game that just wasn't in your wheelhouse?
I mean, there was a game, I remember I went out, there was a first-person shooter that I actually went out to San Francisco to test out. It was more of a preview than a review. It was called Eliminate. It was a first-person shooter on the iPhone, and we went out there. I got a trip out there, and they showed us the game, and they put me up in a hotel out there, and it was a nice trip. But, that's not my style of game. An iPhone first-person shooter, not really my thing, but I still went to see the game. Now, part of it, yes, was the trip, and I enjoyed the trip, but I've never been paid consistently to do games reviews. So yes, when it comes to that, like me as just a hobbyist or someone who does this on the side and really rarely ever gets paid for it, of course I'm going to turn down things I don't want to play because that's on my own free time. So it's a bad example because if I was getting paid for everything and that was my job, I wouldn't turn something down.
I'm not saying turn it down. I'm saying if I was paying you to review games and I sent you to go review the next Metal Gear or the next Division game, I honestly think you would go out there with a open mind and give the game a fair shot. My point is that when you come back, your opinion is going to be somewhat screwed up because of the fact that that's not your type of game to review. So if I wanted you to legit have like a good experience, I can't send you to go review a Metal Gear game. I can't send you to go review a Ghost game because your opinions are already, I don't want to say biased, but I think that's the right word. The problem is you got to find the right.
You can be critical. I think that also it's not fair to expect that people who enjoy a certain game or a certain game series can't be critical of that game series. I think in some cases people can be very critical because they enjoyed this game very much, and if there's something in there they don't like, they will absolutely say it because it's the only way to get any change.
But don't you think, you personally, just talking to you personally, you think that if I sent you to go review the next Ghost game, and there was something in the game that you just didn't like, some feature, some whatever, you don't think there's a possibility that you would overlook that flaw because of how the rest of the game is and not rate the game, I'm not going to say worse, but unfavorably, if, because you're overlooking this one aspect of a game that's otherwise superior. That's my point. Is like, you when it comes to reviewing games, you have to find the right reviewer, but you can't find somebody that hates that style of game, and you can't find somebody that loves that style of game. You got to find somebody dead in the middle of it that can go into it with a complete open mind and say, I can review this game because I don't love the series, but I don't hate it, or whatever the case may be. That's where I fall on reviewing games. You can't love the series, you can't hate it. You gotta be right in the middle and be able to look at it with open view, because that's what game journalists, especially game reviewers, I think should be.
I think that if you are a games reviewer, you should be able to review any game fairly. It shouldn't have to be.
I agree with that statement. I 100% agree with that statement. But unfortunately, that's not what we get. You're going to get people that are going to, like Matt said, using Matt's example, you're going to get people that are going to go, oh, this game has an all-male cast. It's a 0 out of 10. But the game is phenomenal, but the reviewer turned around and said, no, it's an all-male cast, so it's not going to get a good review from me. And there are a lot of people that go to like IGN or whatever website there is, and they scroll to the bottom and they go, oh, it's a 7 out of 10 or it's a 0 out of 10. And they don't actually read the review. Where if you actually went back and read the review, I go, oh, he's being a little too critical on this. Oh, we gave it a 0 because it's an all-male cast? Like, that doesn't tell me how the game is. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem with game reviews and game journalism nowadays. And that's... I'm off my soapbox. I'm sorry. I'm rambling.
Dex says unbiased opinion, which is hard to come by. And you said it earlier, and I looked at it and I said, well, if you give somebody a Metal Gear game because that's what they love, you're hoping that they're going to point out the flaws, but they might be more biased towards that game because of their love of the series as well. However, on top of that, Gertzman and his former podcasters would talk about, after a while, GameSpot actually came out with an actual score sheet that says you are scoring based off of these criterias. So again, you have to have objective scoring methods for a reviewer for it to be trusted. Outside of that, I don't trust people's reviews. I go in, I look for things that specifically call out the mechanics of the game because I already know what games I want to play. But if I read something and it goes, well, the game functions horribly because it crashes every 5 minutes, well, okay, then I'm not going to buy that game. But you're not going to see that reflected in a score unless you read the article. If I go and I read Concord as a 4 out of 10, okay, I have to read why. and they'll go in and say, well, it's DEI or what. Okay, I'm dismissing that. I don't care. I want to know, how does the game play? So I read other reviews and they say, well, the gunplay is okay. It doesn't do the things it sets out to do as far as, bringing the people in and loving what the game's about. So I go, okay, well, I'm going to skip Concord. I look at the reviews for High Guard and I go, well, looks kind of bland. It doesn't really have a cohesive method for getting people together. There's really no all encompassing purpose. All right, well, I'm going to skip High Guard. So I look at these things and I say, well, I'm just going to play the games that I know I'm going to want to play. So I don't treat scores as anything other than the reviewer's opinion, because that's what they are. It's an opinion, a subjective opinion on what the game means to them. I want to read the article and say, how did it perform? Does it do the things it's doing? If they go in and say, well, it's Metal Gear Solid, so expect a convoluted plot, that's what I expect out of a Metal Gear Solid. If I go in and read it and say it's Metal Gear Solid, the plot actually makes sense, I'd be surprised. So, yeah, I'm looking for more quantitative things out of a review than the score. And if that means that higher scoring games aren't making sales for the developers, they shouldn't be making games to score high. They should be making games to actually play well and entice people to play them based off of the character of what's in the game. That's just my 2 cents.
All right. Alex, got any final thoughts before we close up this show?
No, I think I've said what I need to say, and there's no need to regurgitate the same thing over.
All right. Matt, any final thoughts before we close out?
Nope.
All right. Let's close out the show with some shout-outs. I'm not going to you first, Alex, because you complained. Matt, your shout-out, sir.
Shout out to you, gents, for recording. Shout out to Yield and Sid for doing what they do. Shout out to our community. Shout out to the Channel 3 community. Make sure to go to channel3.gg to gamify your social media. Talk to some people about games. Enjoy posting about games. And in general, be a part of a positive force in the gaming experience. Shout out to my new dog, Princess, who is really being a nudge, but has come out of her shell in the last week and is chewing everything and giving moose and lamb chops and other animals new buttholes that Cotton is pouring out of. So we continue the adventure.
Did you say buttholes?
Yes, she has been ripping them new buttholes. You know how Lamb Chop sings the song that never ends?
Unfortunately.
Well, she made sure Lamb Chop couldn't sing anymore because she ripped out Lamb Chop's tongue.
Someone is now cursing your name because they cannot get that song out of their head. It's on repeat. Matt, I want to say that Princess is doing what every good Ratchet and Clank player will ever do. They get all those blueprints, they combine the super gun, and they rip you a new one. She's got her own version of the Rhino.
There you go. And then shout out to my cousin Jay for being the awesome tattoo artist he is and giving me Zelda's paw print on me permanently. And then shout out to my wife V. Thank you for everything that you do.
Can Jay hook me up with a Rangers tattoo? Or he mess it up out of spite?
I don't think he likes the Rangers, so expect there to be a penis in there somewhere.
Really? That's messed up. All right, Alex, your shout-outs.
Give a shout out to our awesome community, the fuel to the fire that is Trophy Horrors. You guys are awesome. Thank you for continuing to support us and just spread the word of Trophy Horrors. It's the entire reason that we still get on here on Sunday nights and are willing to spend a majority of our Mondays and Tuesdays getting a good show out for you. And we do care about getting a good show out for you, so I'm very tedious about my editing because, I want it to be the best it can be for you all because you all support us, you give us your best, so thank you all for every inch of support. Shout out to my co-hosts Tricky and Matt. Shout out to Gareth for the Rarity event. Shout out to Will for his artwork. Shout out to Yield who could not be here tonight. And shout out to my awesome and loving girlfriend Ashley. I love you, hun. And yeah, that's going to be the thing.
Fuck you, Dex, because you know I have to go to bed. He's a dick.
I don't understand the hostility towards Dex, but
because he just said I might play some Ark after this. And he knows I have to go to bed, so he knows I can't play with him now. So he's just doing it to fuck with me.
Well, you know what, Tricky? You're awful hostile towards Dex, so I wouldn't be surprised if Dex is like, yeah, maybe, who knows, maybe Dex really wants to, maybe Dex is tired of Helldivers for the moment, wants to go play another extraction shooter. And there's our creators.
Give a shout out to Matt and Alex for showing up to record. Shout out to Yield for the rarity update, along with Garrett, who provides it every week. Shout out to all the listeners. Shout out to Dex Pinball and Okea, who just came into the chat. Oh, just left the chat. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on Twitch. Yeah. So, if there's nothing else, until next week, happy trophy hunting.
Later.
Eject.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12 Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.